Welcome to this session on the IELTS General Writing How to Score 8 Plus Band. I hope you can all see me and it's all visible. I'm just checking here. All right, great. So, welcome back to this session. If you don't know me, my name is Amsa Venktesan and I'm an IELTS trainer with over 5 plus years experience and have trained close to 750 students across the globe, which is 21,000 plus online hours of training. I have partnered with an academy to be helping and working with all of you on the IELTS test. We will be covering IELTS general and academic sessions, both in these free sessions and on the Plus platform. If you would like to use my link, go ahead, go to the description section, use the 10% off that I have, and feel free to hop on to the Plus sessions because we have amazing and advanced strategies in the IELTS Plus sessions. And we just had an amazing session yesterday that was all about IELTS general speaking and how to ace the task one. There were proven, great, and actionable, quick to implement strategies that I want you to take away with you, and feel free to hop on and take a look. In this session today, let's quickly understand all about the general writing task. This is specifically for general writing. And if you're looking to give your test any sooner, feel free to drop your comments below so I'll be able to help you out with the best plans in case you're trying to hop into my plus sessions, or if you want to discuss more in detail about the plus sessions, again feel free to reach out to any of us. We will look at again actionable steps today on how you can score 8 plus bands, because most of you tell me that you have excellent vocabulary, you have the paraphrasing, proper, you know how to paraphrase properly, but at times you have no clue whatsoever as to the kind of mistakes that you're committing, or where exactly you might have to increase or improve yourself to increase your scores. So this session covers the exact same thing to see how we can score 8 plus bands. All right, so like I said earlier, because I've been working with a lot of students, I tend to ask my students most of the times, and this was one surprising answer that I received one of the time when I had asked them is, which is the most difficult task out of all those asked in IELTS academic and the general training test, was my question. And to my surprise, they answered the writing task. And this was a unanimous answer from one particular batch. And there have been a few batches that told me that they had difficulty with the writing task, but not very specific, and it was not it was not on the top of the difficulty list. So that's what I would say. But here, they unanimously said the writing task was a little more difficult, in comparison to the reading task, which really surprised me because I've had a lot of students that said task one in speaking is a little difficult, or reading section is a little difficult, followed by the writing task. But here, yeah. So the point here for me is to really know if writing task is really a challenge for you. If you really think the writing task is a challenge, let me know in the comments. Hit yes and send me your thoughts on why you think the writing task is a little difficult. Just put down a few sentences to let me know, 2 or 3 sentences to just elaborate why you think the writing task is a little difficult, right? Okay, so now let's quickly move into the major requirement for you to score band 8. You have to know that the writing band descriptors, which really tells you how you might have to write and what the examiner expects when they have to give you that 8 plus bands. When they have to give you that 8 plus bands, they expect 4 different components to have. They expect 4 different components, and these 4 different components has to be written in a well-versed manner. As simple as, so these 4 band descriptors would help you understand what exactly you need in case you're opting for 7, 8, and 9 bands. You do have this band descriptors available in your official guide as well. But I've just taken here because we always aim and we always look for band 7, 8, and 9, and that's the reason I have taken them. So there are 4 descriptors, like I said. The 4 components are task achievement, coherence and cohesion, lexical resources, grammatical range, and accuracy. If you would like to understand what each of these are, we will dive deeper into all of this once again. But now, when task achievement is asked, as simple as you have to understand if the task that you're writing satisfies all the required components in the task. If they're asking you to write a letter, are you writing whatever is asked in the letter? If they have given you 4 different points, is it all covered? Are you able to present the response clearly? Is it a fully developed response, or have you developed it partially? Have you covered all the requirements? Have you presented the key points? Have you provided the key highlights of the structure? Have you provided the key features, the bullet points that needs to be given clearly? That's all about the task achievement. In terms of coherence and cohesion, how well are you able to paraphrase the information, and how are you managing all the aspects given, put together, and presenting it as a beautiful, a paraphrased answer? Lexical resources is where you're able to use a wide range of vocabulary that doesn't sound unnatural. So that pretty much sounds very natural, very, descriptive. You're able to describe it, and there are very less minor errors, or you're not self-correcting yourself. Grammatical range and accuracy is where you are able to use complex sentences and not just simple sentences all the time. You're able to put in a lot of great connectors together, a lot of there are just minor slips and things like that. So this is what your band scores or band descriptors are. And to get your 7 or 8 or a 9, you can just take a quick look here. And remember, when you hop onto my Plus session, I have an entire class on how you can achieve each of these band descriptors. I have advanced strategies. So we sit with questions, we match these band descriptors to it to see how you can score that particular marks. That particular score can be achieved, right? So feel free to let me know if you have any questions. Now, to quickly understand task 1, just let me know your thoughts on task 1. You've been thinking it's all about writing a letter. All right, what kind of letters do you encounter? Have you already written your test? Are you just coming back to see if you can get more practice and redo the test? If you're a first time, or you're taking the test for the second or third time, just let me know. Like, what do you think? What are the different types of questions that you have encountered in the test? So basically, the requirement for writing task 1 is as simple as writing a letter. And when you write a letter, you are basically writing a letter to request information or explain a situation. As simple as requesting information or explaining a situation. The duration is about 20 minutes, and you have to write at least 150 words. Remember, you will be penalized for undercount, right? If you're writing words under or less than 150, you will be penalized. So you have to write at least, note the word, it's not at most, it's at least 150, right? Now, to understand the reason why you're writing this a letter, we have to see what is assessed. What's the point? Why are they even asking you to do a letter writing? Correct? Letter writing is given because they want to see how well you're able to engage in personal correspondence. How well are you able to talk to a person when you are going one-on-one? Are you able to provide any facts or any general information that's given in the letter? And how well are you able to cohesively put things together and develop based on facts given there? How well are you able to express the needs, the wants, the likes and dislikes? If you need information from somebody, or if you have to tell somebody that the facilities in a hostel are not clean and you want better facilities, how would you request a letter to somebody? How well are you able to put all of these things together? How well are you expressing your opinions, that is your views or your complaints, etc.? So these are a few things that we are looking at in writing task 1, just for you to simply understand and brush up, right? Now that we know what a letter writing is all about, I'm just taking a look to see if there's any chat. All right. All right. So now that you know what a letter writing is all about, we will see the 3 different types of letters that is basic and that forms the base of your letter writing. You have what's called the formal letter, the semi-formal, and the informal letter. So you will encounter questions from all these 3, which is formal, semi-formal, and informal. For you to know what formal letters are, it just means that you're writing to someone you don't know. That is, you're writing to a bank, you're writing to an insurance company, an airline, a local council, to a university, to a professor, to a hostel attendant, somebody like that, right? And you start, and remember, one of the marking criteria here would be how do you draft the opening and how do you draft the closing of the letter. This is one of the key parameters. You start a formal letter with the opening that says, "Dear Sir or Madam," and close the letter with "Yours faithfully." Or "Yours sincerely" also works. You can also do that. So "Yours faithfully," and then you can place any made up name. Like you can say, "Thanks John," "Thanks Tim," things like that. Right? So this is your formal letter, and you need to have a proper opening and closing, and then followed by the content. Semi-formal letter is where you are usually writing to someone you know, or at least you know the person, you know their name, even if you don't know them personally. So, for example, you're writing to landlords, to your employer, to your librarian, doctor, school counselor, and teacher. Here, you are allowed to use the opening as "Dear," "Dear," uh, you know, "Dear Tim," "Dear Tom," "Dear Kevin," things like that. All right. And when you close the letter, you write "Yours sincerely." So this is the typical format of a semi-formal letter. And an informal letter is where you write a letter to someone whom you really know well. So your friend or a family member, anybody whom you really know well. You start the letter with "Dear Mom," "Dear Husband," or "Dear whoever." Hey, so you just name your friend or your mom, or you're writing to your father, your anyone that you know, and you're closing the letter by saying, "Best wishes, all the best, see you around, lots of love, always and forever, best regards." Regards generally we use rarely, but you can just say, "All the best, see you around, lots of love, always and forever," and things like that, and you do an informal letter. Most of the times you will encounter all 3 letter types. That is, you will have letters from all 3 of these. So I would highly recommend you to not skip one of these letter types, but instead do all of these letters at once and practice. For you to quickly understand, there are 7 common letter types that we do, which is a request letter. You request somebody for something. You're writing a complaint letter, a letter of complaint, an apology. You're being sorry for something that happened, a letter of explanation. You're telling somebody why this happened and you would like to let them know the points from your side. You're inviting somebody to an event, to a wedding, or to a graduation ceremony or things like that. A letter to make an arrangement, probably to your friend, to let him know you are coming to a different country or whatever, for job or for for further education and things like that. Or you're just requesting him to just find an accommodation for you, and an application or a resignation letter to your employer. These are 7 common letter types, and in my plus sessions, we will do all these letter types with the best strategies to score 8 and 9 bands, and I'll see you there for sure. Okay, so I have quick tips for you to crack your IELTS task letter 1. I want you to start planning the moment you see the question. Take 3 to 5 minutes to plan the points to be included. Do not start writing your letter the moment you start seeing it. I want you to spend at least 3 to 5 minutes out of that 20 minutes for you, because that is crucial. And these 3 to 5 minutes, the time that you really take to plan, is really going to help you paraphrase it and make it more coherent, which is one of your band descriptor. You must write again at least 150 words, and you do not have to include your address in the letter. Always, when you're writing the letter, first, when you start planning, try to look for the aim and purpose of the letter. What is it expecting you to do? Is it an apology, or is it requesting an accommodation? Why are you even writing the letter to that person, so you don't go off the track? All points mentioned should be addressed in your letter, which is again important because that's what they will look for to see if you're fluent enough to complete all the points. You should be able to organize your letter with a proper introduction or an overview stating the purpose of the letter, give them a body to have a purpose, and then have a proper conclusion. So which is your introduction, body, conclusion, or overview, purpose, conclusion, we can say. Use your imagination to create names for letters. That's absolutely fine. Use proper opening and closing statement and mention the purpose clearly. Like I said, formal, semi-formal, and informal, you should have proper opening and closing to do that. Sign off your letter once you know the style, as usual. Spelling matters, spelling counts, yes. Now, quickly moving into your writing task 2, which is writing an essay. This is as simple as you will have 40 minutes to do the test, and you have to write at least 250 words. Here, the structure is where you will have an introduction, where you're giving an overview of what the question is. Do not copy the question. Paraphrase the question, add some idioms and do that, or just paraphrase it and write it as simple as that. In the body, paragraph 1, you will start answering the question and qualifying it with some examples. Body 2, again, start answering the question and qualifying the examples. We have a strategy that says the inform and qualify strategy, that is specifically for speaking and writing sections. And I just did a class on the entire inform and qualify strategy inside the Plus session, and that is highly recommended for you when you're trying to do your band 8 and 9 answers. I would highly recommend you to check that out, the inform and qualify strategy. And then you will have to have a conclusion. So it's introduction, body 2 passages, and a conclusion. All right. Now, for you to understand how an essay might look, this is how an essay looks. Many people believe that social networking sites such as Facebook have had a huge negative impact on both individuals and society. To what extent you agree? This is how your questions will be. You have 40 minutes to spend on this task. Write at least 250 words would be something that they would be giving you. Now, like I said again, for your letter writing, I want you to understand what the question demands. What's the aim and purpose of writing this essay? Understand that. Map out your ideas. Spend again 3 to 5 minutes to write your points, lay out your points. Follow the structure again, introduction, body, conclusion, because that is going to give you marks, scores for your coherence, because you have to organize them and not just write randomly with supporting examples. Familiarize yourself with most repeated and common topics. Again, we have all that practice in the Plus sessions. Include your personal opinion where needed. Usually, I would advise adding this in the conclusion. And if you have to know how to draft it properly, it's in my Plus. Take care of lexical resources, vocabulary. Again, that's a band descriptor. So we also have a list of vocabulary that we do for each of these topics in the Plus session, in case you don't know. Learn to manage your time. Like I said, again, we always have to know how much time we have to use to practice and, to draft your points and to do this really well. Always complete your answer. So even if you cannot use complex sentences, please use simple sentences using conjunctions, because that is super important for you to gain on your vocabulary and complete your answer. Know your grammar, spelling, and punctuation, because that is scored. Use formal language. You're writing an essay. Use formal language. All right. So that's it for today's session. If you really enjoyed it, I would highly recommend you to jump into my Plus sessions and take a look at that, because you have too many classes there. You have too many instructors who are highly experienced. You can also get to watch my sessions, because I have sessions day in and day out there. And here are some subscriptions that you can look into if you're looking to write your test anyways, probably in the next 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, or 12 months. I would highly recommend you to take a look at the 12 months in case you have sufficient time. If not, feel free to use any of these. You can take a look at unlimited classes. You can set your own flexible timetable. You can watch and download all the recordings offline, and you have EMI options available. All right. If you really enjoyed watching this video, I would recommend you to like this video, share, and subscribe to Unacademy IELTS YouTube live channel. I have the next session, in the next 40 minutes on IELTS Academic Writing Task 1 Top Tips for 8+ Bands. This is on 20th, in case you're not in the same time zone. This is on 20th December at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time or 7:30 p.m. Indian Standard Time. I really hope you enjoyed this session. I'll see you in the next one. Thank you.